And welcome, folks, to another edition of the Michigan Football Breakdown, focused on the offense with Al. Gorgeous Borges. Look how he's glistening. He's gorgeous. We
Sam, you
restart.
got your glasses on today. You're looking pretty
Well,
cerebral.
listen, Al, I have given up. Trying not to wear the readers anymore. Listen, folks, I'm just gonna wear them.
You
When you
always
see
are,
me out,
Sam.
when you see me out there, you see me on the stage. I don't wear glasses like walking around, but like if I'm sitting in front of the computer or I'm on stage, at a show or something, you gonna see me with the readers on, man. I just can't. I just got.
Well, Sam, you're getting a little older, and
Yeah,
time
man.
waits for no man, Sam. No man,
Yeah,
not even you.
yeah. I just gotta do it because, I thought I was just tired all the time, which I burn the candle at both ends. But shoot, after I get some sleep on the weekend and I'm still walking around and my eyes still watering and red, I'm like, what the hell is going? Put on the readers for one day, and all of a sudden my eyes feel like they rested and they're ready to go, and I can see. Al, it's like it's like how we had you restart your computer and
Mm-hmm.
wipe off the glass, and all of a sudden you're glistening and you're clear. It's like that.
Yeah,
It's like,
Sam, I just want to warn you because with age, you need more aids, Sam, whether it be glasses or, you know what I mean, canes, whatever. The future in that regard isn't quite as bright as we all want to think. But what the heck? We'll make it anyway.
yeah, that is right. We're gonna make it happen, Captain, as they say. And we are going to be breaking down Michigan's upcoming opponent at Wrigley, no less, playing I've been to Wrigley Field one time. I have courtesy of the McCarthys. Courtesy of the McCarthys. I went over there with JJ and Jim and crew and had a
Did
good
you watch
time.
football or baseball?
We watched baseball.
Yeah, I watched baseball first time this last year myself. I went to watch the Giants play the Cubs. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It was really, really cool. And so I got a text from old Jim McCarthy, and he said, "Hey," he said, "Hey, man, so he's coming. I doubt JJ there. They got a game, but he said, the McCarthys are coming, and we're bringing your JJ jersey." And I said, "Man, Al, I cannot wear a J. I could put it up in the office. I could put it in the man cave, but I can't wear it out. I can't wear the JJ jersey.
No, Sam,
That's
that
my
would be
guy, but I can't wear it
disloyal.
out."
You got to draw a line somewhere. But I find myself pulling for him. I got to say that. And I wanted the Lions to win, but I wanted him to play good. I just, you get a little invested in the kids, particularly when they did what they did. And it's just, just because they go to another pro team, you don't alienate yourself from them. So I'm happy to see he's doing what he's doing. And I knew he was capable because he was taking some hits, Sam, when he played before, And these last couple performances have kind of
well, he didn't play as well against the Ravens, unfortunately.
No.
Wanted to see
But
him
he's
beat
playing
the
better. He is. His overall play is better. Yeah.
He is. And I will definitely hang the jersey very, very prominently. But I'm a Lions fan, man. I'm a Lions fan through and through.
So am I.
Can't shake it. Love my dude, and want him to do well, except against the Lions. The Lions. So he understands. He was talking all kind of smack about my squad. He came out the game talking about my kneecaps are still intact. I was like, JJ, where the smoke come from? Like, man. Anyway, Al, so Michigan heading down to play at Wrigley against a Northwestern squad that got cheated. Did you see how they got cheated in the game?
No, tell me that. I watched some of it, didn't watch it all. Tell me what happened. Give me that.
So they had a fake punt. All right. Now, earlier in this, like maybe a week or so prior to the game, maybe the game prior, they switched one of their reserve quarterbacks to the same number as the punter.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you got two guys playing the same position with the same number now.
Oh.
And so in the game, they slide this punter out there, and he throws this perfect dime on fourth down, and you got in the booth, you got dude, I can't stand RG3. I like his play-by-play guy. His play-by-play guy name is a dude named Jason Ross, who I've worked with. You maybe heard him on the show with me. He came on the morning show with me at TKA. So Jason Ross, Michigan guy. Anyway, they're like, oh man, he throws a dime on fourth down. That's this punter. They might need to sign him up as a quarterback, give him a quarterback scholarship. Ow, that's illegal as hell. You got two guys wearing the same number. Now, after the game, you got the coach for Northwestern say, hey, man, I take it on the chin. We should have done better scouting because they had actually changed the number well in advance of the game. If they had looked at the roster closely, they'd see that, hey, there's another guy. The backup quarterback is also wearing the punters, so they could slide them out there. They didn't pay attention. USC got one over on them, and Lincoln Riley is in the media like, yeah, look, I got one over on them. Glad the media didn't pay attention to put that out there on social media. Meanwhile, the Big Ten comes out after the fact and says, oh, well, technically that was illegal. They can't have two guys at the same position wearing the same number. Seems pretty obvious, wouldn't you think, Al Borges?
Yeah, it's just I don't, I'm too old school. I don't like anybody on the team having the same number. Now I know why. Okay, I get it. I get why, because there's too many players and such. But it's just there's too many. It creates too much confusion, and it's harder for sometimes the fans to discern. I wish in the pros you get, but you got a different number. You got to have a different number, right? But they don't have 100 and something odd guys on the team. I know why they do it, but I don't like it. Period. For anybody, I don't like the defense and offense guys having the same number. But it is what it is.
Yeah, and what sucks is you have a call like that, and it totally changes.
Oh
the
yeah,
game.
yeah, that can. I could see it. I didn't see that play. I must have been in my middle of my channel surfing at the time, but that I could see that being a deal.
Yeah. Who got screwed like that? Someone got screwed playing Oklahoma on a play on a play where they came back after the fact and said, oh, that was sorry about that. It's like, man, sorry about that doesn't help a coach.
Oh, that was Auburn when they snuck a guy in from the sideline. Yeah, that was a bad one too. Yeah.
Yeah, Hugh Freeze has just been fired. What if Auburn wins that game? Does Hugh Freeze still have a job?
I don't know. Yeah, they played pretty good. They had a chance. Well, that game that was a touchdown, I believe.
It was a touchdown.
Yeah.
So, it was a touchdown. So Hugh Freeze is probably looking up saying, man, that one call, if I win that one game, the whole trajectory of my season changes. And that doesn't stop him from calling an RPO every snap, right? So
I broke them down this last week just to see if they changed their, their play caller, just to see if they changed their heavy R. And they still ran quite a few RPOs, but I don't think it was quite as many. So, and they've had a phenomenal offensive game. They had 560 something yards, I think, and scored over 40 points or 38 points or something. It was a completely different deal. So,
yeah, man. So it was getting back to Michigan Northwestern. Northwestern goes on to lose that game, which it was pretty nip tuck for first quarter. It was
more than the first quarter. It was a battle. It was a battle.
What was it at halftime? I think it was 21-14 at halftime.
Yeah, something like that. It was close. Yeah, it was close. Yeah.
And then they obviously they were able to pull away in the fourth quarter. But that fake, that was a game-changing play for the Trojans, and they got one over on the Wildcats, who have looked better this year, Al. And so we're going to dedicate a good portion of this conversation to breaking down the Wildcats on defense and how Michigan might attack them coming off the bye. This is a very, very intriguing game from a couple of standpoints. Northwestern being an improved team, it being a road matchup, Michigan still being in the thick of the hunt, and of course this offense being at an interesting sort of position. They have maintained their smash identity, but they're really trying to get this passing game on track, and they had a bye week to try to aid in that, Al.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting deal. This will be a challenging game, as Northwestern always is, because Northwestern always, for whatever reason, seems to play well against Michigan. But, they're a team, Sam, they're not easy team to trick. You know what I mean? If you got a lot of, gadgetry in your offense, I don't necessarily mean just trick plays, but just maybe nuanced plays that most teams don't handle real well. Northwestern tends to play those plays better than most teams. I'll just say that. Why, I'm not 100% sure, but that's been how it's gone in the past. We've talked about that several times in our breakdowns, where, God, they run this play last week, but they couldn't run it against Northwestern. They ran that play last week. But Northwestern doesn't bite on a lot of the stuff that some of the other teams do. So they're formidable. They're formidable, and they're not bad, particularly in their front. Their front's pretty good. I mean, they play with that Saka. Is that how you say it? Saka is a very good pass rusher. Bastone and Flakes are their inside guys, and they switch those guys out a lot. But they're very stout, very fundamentally sound. Aiden Hubbard plays the other end, opposite Saka, and he is also a very good player. They got a safety, Fitzgerald, that's will play split safety defense, will play hard downhill in the box, in cover 4, do a lot of things like that. He's a solid player. And their corners hold up pretty well. Fred Davis, and I believe it's Fusel is his name. They're both pretty good. And they do enough variation within their package to keep it a little off balance. This will be challenging for the quarterback. They'll mix their coverages. They start basically as a 4-deep team, but they'll press the corners. They'll play more man-to-man than you think most Northwestern teams will. They will play some man-to-man. They have variations of how they play 2-deep. They'll play in base cover 2. They'll play a sky with a safety. Will take the flat. The corner will blow out of there to the hash mark. They have several different variations of how they want to play Tampa to 2-deep, where they'll run that same look with that sky force and that guy tamping out of there. Then a conventional Tampa 2, where the guy will run out just from the round contour and the corners up. Inside the red area, they'll play what I call red 7, which is a form of a goal line zone defense that Iowa made so popular, was so good at. They play that real well, and they'll tamper with that too. So it's a lot of stuff to discern as a quarterback.
Yeah. I'm impressed with the turnaround. I mean, they had to find an identity after Pat Fitzgerald, who, by the way, is putting himself out there. Hey, I'm on the market. I was cleared. I was exonerated. I had no knowledge of the hazing. And look, they had a settlement with me. Can't tell you the details, but I can show you where they said no wrongdoing on my part. So be interesting to see where he winds up. But, a lot of the same core tenets of the Northwestern that we've seen over the years remain now. Yeah, and I agree with you. The thing that stuck out to me, maybe more than anything, watching them defensively, their front gets after it. I mean, you had Jay Maeva had to do some Houdini a couple times. There was one time where he got out of. It must have been 2, might have been 3 guys, at least 2 guys around him in the backfield. He breaks free of would be a sack in the backfield and scrambles upfield and bursts into the end zone for a touchdown. It was a big play in the game, but Northwestern's defensive line was in the backfield.
Yeah, they needed some improv to make that stuff go. Both the SC and Nebraska game, they needed some improv to get their stuff going, because they are a disciplined group and they're going to do things right. Their package has got enough variation in it to keep you off balance, but it's not overly sophisticated. They play basically the same front all the time. They're a 4-2 team, which would turn into a 4-1 versus certain looks, right? You spread your formation. They'll take a guy out. I've not seen them in an odd look yet. So they're basically going to be a 4-man line team, but they play it. They know how to play it. They play a 2-eye on the open side. They play a 3 technique on the tight end side. And they bring the nickel dog, just like we've seen the last couple of weeks. I mean, very similar to Michigan State. They just have enough stuff to throw you off balance and force the young quarterback to extrapolate a lot of information, a lot of looks, you know what I mean? And then still know where to go with the ball. And, so it's going to be challenging.
Yeah. USC did a good job of having them off balance. They got some big plays in the run game. One got called back. Still, I think they still had like a 50-yarder in there. And so they, for as good as they did at times, just a lot of firepower for USC. But USC challenged them because you got to respect their ability to throw the football. They really had no answer for Mekhi Lemon. Michigan doesn't come in with as much of a threat, established threat in the passing game, which is going to challenge their ability running the football much more. And as we've been talking about, Northwestern pretty fierce in the box.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to take the next step of the passing game this week. I don't think they're going to get away with throwing for less than 100 yards, and they don't need to light the scoreboard up and throw 35, 40 passes. But their passing game is going to have to be more efficient than it's been to beat this team. I really believe that. They're the type of team, I think, and in watching their offense, they have the ability to keep the game close. You know what I mean? Where, you get in that fourth quarter and everything starts getting dicey and you make a mistake here and there, you get beat. So this is not going to be an easy one, but it's one where the matchups are fine. I like our matchups on the flank against their defensive backs. I do. I don't particularly dislike our matchups up front, particularly the way we ran the ball a week ago against their front. Even though the front I think is good, I think we'll be fine if we do like we've been doing. I think we'll run the ball fine. But I really believe the difference in this game, from an offensive perspective anyway, could be the Michigan passing game.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully that's the case. We got a lot of breakdown and forecasts about what we think they would be doing, what we think they should be doing from you and Denard, and even Vance talked about, hey, you're struggling. What do you go after in this particular bye week to try to get things on track? Not that you're hanging it all on Bryce, of course not, but definitely there are some things. He's probably the most crucial aspect that you need to get on track coming out of the bye. So what are some of the things that you can do to help do that, to help ensure that coming out of the bye that you're better than when you went into it?
Mm-hmm.
And so Denard talked a lot about, hey, getting him timing with guys who are being getting featured or at least playing more snaps at receiver now that weren't necessarily playing at the beginning of the year. So getting out throwing more with Marsh, for instance, getting out throwing more with Browder. You got to throw more with everyone, but definitely even Zach Marshall. Guys who you haven't had as much chemistry in games with because their playing time really increased a lot over the last few games. So he was like reps on getting chemistry with the guys. You were like reps on, hey, your fundamentals, your footwork, right? Your mechanics, reps on those things. And hopefully the marriage of the two, Al, will really work to their advantage.
I think so. I went to dinner with Denard this last Thursday, and we talked ad nauseum about all these things, what we thought. And he was, and he brings up one thing I think that's that I thought of, but he really kind of emphasized it more, was getting him more quick rhythm throws. Okay, balls that come out fast, balls that take minimal assessment. You know what I mean? Stick routes, slants, those types of things. Getting him more of those types of things where the ball's out fast and you're not completely dependent on the pass protection. I thought that was astute because I think that could really help them. Also, is they got to kind of re-practice some of the plays that failed with the players that ran the plays. If you missed a vertical, let's get that same receiver out there and throw some verticals so we can gain confidence next time we run that play, because that's going to be in the offense all the time, right? I mean, we've seen that every week. It may be a different receiver this time, but whoever it is, just gaining confidence in the things that you weren't quite as good at. I think that's a key point. And then back to what you said, Sam, is just focusing on the fundamental components of the position, in every position, not just quarterback, but again, we're talking about the quarterback now, but knowing when, how your footwork ties into the timing of the route and all those types of things. I think all those, this 2-week window is invaluable with regard to developing some of the fundamental components of the offense.
Yeah. It'll be interesting again to see their attack plan, also with a chance to heal some bumps and bruises. You won't see Justice Haynes, of course. There's going to put more on the plate of Jordan Marshall. But developing the backup running back position.
That's what I'm more concerned with. Jordan Marshall's fine. Okay, I don't have any trouble sleeping. No, he's going to play because he's going to bring it. Right? We've learned that, and the teams he's played against have learned that. It's just a matter he can't carry the ball every play. So there's going to be a point where you got to put in the backups, and how are they going to hold up? Because the alternative of going from Hayes to Marshall was virtually no drop off, right? And in some areas you might even have gained a little bit, but now is the alternative going to be good enough? And again, is yet to be seen. Is that going to be good enough to where they're okay if for some reason Marshall either needs rest or gets dinged a little bit? So that's huge. That's huge in every aspect too. I'm not just talking about running the football. I'm talking about blitz pickup.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the time they ask to block. All those things come up and you go, oh, geez, we didn't get quite enough reps for him because he doesn't know to pick up on the nickel blitz. Those types of, I've run into those situations where you didn't anticipate a kid playing as much as he had to. And then he got in a game where they're running a multitude of looks at him, and it can get a little scary.
Yeah, you nailed it, Al. You talking about is he getting all the blitz pickups and that kind of thing? Because to start that game, the last game against Purdue, the young fella, Jasper Parker was the backup. And then you see at the end of the game, they went to Cusdahl. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that was just all of a sudden they say, hey, let's switch it up at the end of the game. I think Jasper had missed a pickup earlier in the game. You might recall he had missed a pickup. And I think it was at that point they were like, okay, when it's time to go to the pin, so to speak, we're going to go reliable. And they went to Cusdahl. And I give Cusdahl some credit, man. He went in there and when he
got him. Yeah, he did. He did.
Ran the football effectively. Mm-hmm. But, from a talent perspective, man, Jasper Parker is a talented young player. And so this bye week was probably really beneficial for him too. We focused so much attention on Bryce. To your point, Al, this was probably some critical time for that young player.
Yeah, no doubt. Because now he's going to play. I mean, he knows he's going to play, right? At some point, because the kid's not going to, Marshall's not going to play every play. So you always got to prepare, right? Even if you're the fourth back. But when you know you're going to play, your antennas are up, okay? So that prep must be even more keen. I mean, you've got to be able to deal with not just, like I said, not just carrying the ball, but all the other elements that go with playing the position, which are a lot. They're a lot. So, we'll see how that shakes out. But I know Jordan Marshall is going to do all we need him to do to help us win the game. Now we just got to be able to fill that void of backup.
Absolutely. All right, folks, if you have questions for Al, put them in the chat right now. If you have questions for Al, put them in the chat. We're going to be talking about other teams in the thick of the Big Ten race. After I put Al on the spot here, I'm not going to ask you any Hugh Freeze questions. Don't worry, Al. Don't worry about that.
I appreciate that.
If you have questions for Al, put them in the chat right now. But I am going to put you on the spot. You've scouted Northwestern. You talked about, kind of the things that you respect about their defense. Now, based on what you know about them and what you obviously know about Michigan, give me your game plan. Your keys, how you would attack them.
Well, just some plays show up, okay, against them. Now, before I start on that, I will say this again. I like some of our receiver matchups outside. I think we can get something done there and inside with the tight ends and the slots. I think that those are all things that Michigan's good at. And there's no reason why they can't build on some of the things they've done here and hopefully make those throws with more consistency. But some of the throws some of the plays that have showed up, like and a play that Michigan has run is what I call a wham play, where they're bringing an extra tight end, fullback type, whatever, and loading the box, either loading the three technique or loading the nose guard, blocking them. That has been a good looking play against them. Something else that has showed up, and Nebraska did this as much as anybody's, RPOs. RPOs are always tough on the defense. And a team that wants to play a lot of zone they can be extra tough on, and Northwestern's going to play a good degree of zone defense. So I think that is another thing, and some of them are the same RPOs that Michigan's been running all year that are getting beat on. The stretch with a line route and two receivers running a little switch combination that showed up. So I think just the RPO game in itself and doing what they've been doing and maybe adding a few more, because you're more likely, Sam, in this game to get more RPOs because of the 4-man line. Okay. The 4-man line just allows for it more. So I would look for them to be upwards of between 15 and 22 RPOs some way, shape, or form, with probably a third of those getting thrown. Okay. That's just a ballpark. I don't know. We'll see how that works out, but I think that'll probably happen. Outside zone play, which is in our wheelhouse, Michigan's wheelhouse. I think you'll see that. And again, the RPOs off that duo. Nebraska scored on a duo, and we're tailor-made obviously for that. So that's another one I think has got a real chance. And then counters, forcing those ends to play, conflicting those ends however you want to, whether it be with counters, whether it be with split zones, whether it be with bluff runs, all those types of things. I don't care if you're a real smart team or whatever, that still conflicts the defender. And it's not easy to defend. I don't care how smart you are. And I think a good degree of misdirection. Okay. I think maybe a reverse. And Nebraska ran one, but it would gain like 6 or 7 yards. But even in that, I think that's good just to present that different look, that misdirect look. They are not real vulnerable, as some teams are, on nakeds. They don't bite the nakeds like a lot of people do. They're kind of tough on them. They played screens pretty good. Even a good screening team like USC didn't kill them on screens. So they are aware that way. Okay. Quarterback runs. They had a counter read for the quarterback counter read. We've drawn that up over the years, and that one hit. And that might be one to consider in this game, where you got the outside rim sweep going, reading the end, and if the end comes upfield, you can keep it and come underneath with an OT counter, and the quarterback carrying the ball. That looked like a good play against them. Okay. But the combination of a lot of things that Michigan already does, and maybe some things they've done in the past. I think there's some plays that popped up that Michigan, I know, has in their toolbox. But and I wouldn't be surprised if you saw it in this game. Maybe a trap. You're always going to get a 3. They're not going to play an odd, so you're always probably going to get a 3 technique, and you can run that trap play, that 3 technique, at least once or twice during the game, if nothing else, slowing him down with pass rush. But that's always a good deal particularly if the guy hasn't seen much of it. So, those types of things. And then just your conventional play passes, 2 or 3 shots off actions that you use. Yeah, the outside zone with that max protection, that type of thing is really good, where you can throw layered routes in behind it, flood routes, whatever it is that you do. You don't have to reinvent the wheel on that, because so many times they're going to be biting runs. They're going to play hell trying to get back to defend those routes. So I think there's got to be a certain, and I said they're better defending nakeds. That doesn't mean I wouldn't run any nakeds. I'd still make them prove it on that. Okay, just for no other reason, just to get the quarterback out of the pocket and see some throws better without depending on the pass protection always holding up. So all that I think is good stuff.
Mm-hmm. So one thing I have never done in my life is go to a Buckeye podcast, chat, or show. But the Buckeyes keep showing up. And this guy says, y'all know the Buckeyes are going to repeat. Stop your cry to deal with it. I'm not crying.
They're going to repeat another loss again? They're going to repeat and get beat again? Is that what you're
going to repeat getting that ass whooped? Oh, man. I just think you got, these days.
Yeah, he should have clarified that. He opened himself up.
The Buckeyes can't help themselves. That's just unbelievable. I appreciate your attendance. I appreciate you adding to the view count. I would appreciate a super chat. The last Buckeye Go Jay, he comes in and at least drops a little coin, because I've been, for the past 4 years, been telling y'all will get your ass kicked. Been giving y'all some real knowledge on Ryan Day. Giving it away for free. Least you can do is throw a little coin. So I'm just saying. But, yes, we hope the Buckeyes repeat. We really do. Please Speak that into existence. All right. A couple of more things as we get to the questions for Al that they keep coming through. We got some Lions fans in the house.
You love it.
Yeah, they
God, I love watching the Lions, Sam. Don't you love watching the Lions?
I
They
do.
are they are so fun. They run that football. They play. They don't have a running quarterback, but they got one that can hit the target, and they got guys that can break long runs and run tough runs. Get those 3 and 4 yards in a cloud of dust, and they got light and they got neat schemes. It's just I love watching them play.
Yeah, someone said that I was watching Dan Campbell wear some glasses. Listen, I just need some readers. I'll be honest with you. And I've had them forever. And from time to time, you see me with some on, and my wife's been on me. You need to wear them. You need to wear them. You need to wear them. And you get. I'm not a glasses guy. No offense, Al. I'm
Sam,
not.
you can talk all that crap you want. There may be a point where you need to be a glasses guy.
Well, I'm at that point. I'm at that point.
You're not at that point. You go from readers to bifocals, so you can see long or you can see short. You're not at that point.
I've given up on the I don't wear glasses. Listen, you see me in front of any kind of screen, reading any kind of thing, reading something or on the stage somewhere, you're going to see me with the readers on, man, because it's like the seas have parted. I'm seeing stuff clear. I mean, good. Al, put it this way. It's like I would see it in 4x3, now it's 16:9. That's how clear things are to me at this point. So the world is different. That's what is behind the glasses. And then last but certainly not least, let's go ahead and get to a super chatter because a super chatter has jumped in and has said, Sam, have you thought about setting up a Patreon to do the film studies? That is how YouTubers skirt the copyright. $5 or $10 a month. Money for Al and Vance,
Okay, Sam, I like the last part of that. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I thought about it. It depends on how many people we can get committed. I've seen, for instance, in the past, our friends at MGO Vlog do like Kickstarter kind of things. So YouTube has memberships now. So one of the ideas is to maybe start a membership campaign and kind of secretly tell the members, hey, if we want to do film studies, this is how we'll do it over on Patreon kind of thing. And use the membership funnel as a way with our YouTube's knowledge. Say, hey, members, you want to help us out? This is how we know. This is how we'll gauge the interest. Come through our membership portal. And then this is how we know we got enough interest. And then, of course, come over to the Patreon page. And this is how we will actually fund the film studies and take care of it that way. That's a possibility that we can explore for next season. Because listen, we know there's a void there for sure. But it just has to make financial sense. Putting it behind the paywall will at least take care of the exorbitant fees that the copyright owners want to charge us. Then it's just a matter of being able to raise enough in viewership support to be able to pay the guys for all the time, because they take a lot of time. All right. But let's go to the phone. Appreciate that. Kiwan, appreciate that. That would be cool. Let's start getting to the questions for Al. You have questions for Al? Put them in the chat. Ben H says, yeah, Dan Campbell showed 2 straps how great glasses could look this week. Hey, man, I gave up caring what they look like. I'm just saying, look, form over fashion. Now, we can try to make them look fashionable too, but I'm all about the function. I want to see. Al. Let's get back to the questions for Al. Smash the numbers. Al, is Bryce Underwood like the change in my tennis serve? First, it doesn't work in practice. Then it does. Then it doesn't work in games. And then all at once, it clicked. And I'm not looking back.
Yeah, I think that's I never thought of tennis serve, but that's kind of how it works. Is and so much of it. I said this a long time ago, and I believe that there's nothing more lethal than a great athlete who's confident. Okay. And once he gains that confidence, okay, that he can execute every piece of the offense on a consistent basis, watch out. Watch out. You know, the greatest athlete I ever seen with the greatest confidence was probably Michael Jordan. And when he started rolling, man, he used to say the hoop got this big. You know what I mean? I think there'll be a day when Bryce his hoop gets that big.
Yeah, I just people are quick. Fans are quick to.
Yeah, it's a microwave. It's a microwave society, Sam. Everybody wants it now, and some things just don't come now as much as you want them to. And everybody wants the secret sauce. What's the secret sauce? What do you got to tell them? Secret sauce is reps, experience, trial and error. That's the secret sauce. And then all of a sudden, those players that you were criticizing so hard, all of a sudden you're not criticizing them so much because their secret sauce took finally.
Mhm. All right. Steve wants to say, can you see how gorgeous Al is now?
No question. There's just no question. Yeah, I get accused of looking like Brad Pitt all the time. It gets a little.
Yeah. Susan has to fight her. She has to keep him off you.
Oh, I know, Sam. It's not easy for me. No, fortunately, I'm a loyal guy, but as much as the chicks dig me, I got to fight them off constantly. I know what it is.
Yeah, I must say, the ladies do love Al Borges.
Oh, yeah, they just can't help themselves.
That is true. All right. Next one. Kwame, appreciate you always coming showing up. Al and Sam, how about use the run instead of the passing game? That's what they've been trying to do.
Kind of what they do. It's kind of what they do. That's a novel concept. I thought somebody come, let's try the pass and set up the run game one time, but I'm not advocating that. I'm just saying that would be a change of pace. And I did that in the opening plays a lot in games, only to end up running the ball a hell of a lot more before the game was over. But early in the game, throwing a little more than they might expect. That's not always a bad idea either.
Yeah, Steve Horn says, with Haynes missing, the offense is missing some explosive elements. Need to make up for it in the downfield passing game. Would like to see some max protect and take a shot. Would like to see that crosser they ran in the red zone for a touchdown run in the field. Al.
Yeah, I think that's all good. I think picking your spots, timing those calls is so critical. It's so critical. You're running the ball well, and then all of a sudden, the best time to take a shot like Steve's talking about is when you're running the ball well. But then you throw it incomplete, and what does everybody say? Why are you doing that? You're running the ball well. Yeah. I said, but when you try and do that, generally when you're not running the ball well, I'm not going to say it's not effective, but it certainly isn't as effective. You get your hardest bites when they're aware of particularly your downhill run game. So timing those calls, figuring out, okay, we just ran the ball, 2 first downs, 1st and 10, let's go. Let's give this a shot because it's worth it. If we hit it, it's going to be a huge bite, but then you got to go through the pain of knowing that if you don't, you're 2nd and 10 and you've been running the ball real well. So you got to have a plan, Sam, for when you call that and it not working. What's your next 2 calls? And particularly what's your next call to try and get half that yardage back?
All right. Al, what do you think about IU and our chances against Ohio State from Team Ukraine?
Indiana.
Yeah.
Indiana looks pretty solid to me, although they were very fortunate to get out of Penn State alive the other day. I watched almost that whole game. The thing that people forget about Penn State, they still got some guys. Okay, yeah. There's still some guys over there, right? And coaching at Michigan, because you recruit against them quite a bit. So they still got some guys. They're obviously not a complete team, but they're dangerous. And IU ran into a motivated Penn State team, but they won, and they won there, which is impressive. Now they've done it twice at very difficult margins. They have validated how good. I think they're better than they were a year ago. I do, because they validated themselves against some good team. Now Penn State's not a great team, but Oregon certainly is. So I think they're real, and Ohio State's doing what they seem to do every year, and that's clobber opponents. If the thing about watching Ohio State and watching Michigan, which all of us do, is we watch Ohio State clobber teams by a bunch of points, and then we watch Michigan not beat them as bad. So we compare scores. We go, look, Ohio State's, they got a better team. They beat Purdue a lot worse. Don't do it. Don't do it. Comparative scores basically tell you nothing. Okay. Matchups are what tell you. And that's why a year ago, Michigan could beat Ohio State, and Michigan did not have a particularly good year. But Ohio State did not match up well up front with Michigan. Ohio State did not match up well up front. So you can compare all the scores you want. At the end of the day, that game is a different game. Okay, it's a different game. So I would just, and again, I want to get ahead of myself. We don't play them for a few weeks, but just don't expect some of the things that have happened in the past to happen in that game.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, man, it's definitely the case that when you look at IU, you gotta respect them.
No question. I think they're the best two teams in the conference right now.
Yeah, look, were they fortunate? Sure. You're seeing Penn State how they should have been playing to begin with. You shouldn't have been resting your offense resting your offense on a guy who wasn't your best player. Drew Aller wasn't their best player, and they were treating him like he was Josh Allen. You not only were you treating him like he was that guy as a passer, which he had already proven he wasn't. Now you're telling him you want him to run the football. And I think in the UCLA game, he had as many carries as Singleton or Katron Allen, or maybe both of them. Like, how is that possible? That should never happen. Your running backs should have been leading the way for you on that team, and they weren't. You see what happened when they leaned on their running backs? They took Indiana to the hilt. Now, on the Indiana side of it, every team that goes on the championship run has one of those games that you're gonna.
Yeah, you're right. You're gonna blow through everybody. Not in today's day and age. There's gonna be a few games that you're gonna win slightly, but that's what shows that you're a good team. Yeah. Is when you're challenged, because some of these games are over at halftime. When they're not, you get in the fourth quarter, you find out who your best players really are, who's going to perform under the pressure. So and that's why the Michigan game's so much different, because a lot of times they come down to the fourth quarter, and who's going to run the ball well, who's going to play tough defense, who's going to do the things that'll help you win the football game. And that can't be measured in some of these comparative scores I'm talking about still. So
yeah, man, I was impressed to see him do that. Mendoza driving down the field, and I can't remember the receiver's name. That was a catch that would have been good in the pros, not just college. He got both feet down back in the end zone. That was an amazing catch.
Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, and almost unbelievable. Where the quarterback was under such heavy pressure, throwing the ball off his back foot, almost just laying it up there and having just enough room where he could come down and tap his feet inside the end line. That's amazing. But that's sometimes that's the way their season's going, right, Sam? Those another year he's out of bounds, and you end up losing 4 games, right? But some years everything just goes the way you want it to go. Yeah,
that is just big time. All right, let's get to the next question for Al. If you have questions for Al, put them in the chat. If you have questions for Al, put them in the chat, and we will get to them. Next one comes from Michigan Real Talk. Al, give us a fundamentals progression viewing guide for Bryce. What should we be looking for first, second, third to track his progress? Is it eyes first, feet first, throwing on time? What should we be looking for to gauge his progress? Al, this is a great question.
It is a great question. You bet it is. But my answer to that is all of the above. But everything starts really with your feet, okay? Getting your feet in tune to the timing of all the routes. Now, some routes are pure timing routes, whether you're throwing a hitch or a tight end stick or a curl. Those are pure timing routes. You get the ball 1, 2, 3, hitch throw, 1, 2, 3, plant throw, ball's out. Okay. Other routes, every route though has an aura of timing. Sometimes it requires more than one hitch step, assuming you have the protection to make the ball come out right on time as the receiver's coming open. And that's key. Is the ball coming out as the receiver comes open, not when the receiver's open. When the receiver's open, it's too late. He has to come out as the receiver, and that's all tied to the steps you take as a quarterback. Now, the next thing is there's more to it than just taking the steps. Now you've got to get your hips set and your weight transferred through each throw as much as you possibly can, because you always have to assume when you're throwing a pass that you're going to have a fundamental basis for what you're doing. Everything I'm doing until that third play comes up. And that third play I always call it the third play in a pass play where something breaks down, whether a guy's covered, whether somebody slips, if the protection breaks down, then you have to have built into your footwork the ability to escape and still see the throw, if in fact you can do that, right? And that is not willy-nilly. That has some structure to it, although it may not always look like it does. So it's those type of things. Now you talk about eyes. Where are your eyes? Your eyes should be downfield as long as you can get away with it so that you don't telegraph your throws. Knowing that at the back of the drop, there is going to be a point where your eyes have to go into throwing lanes, okay? But you don't want to tip your intentions so that DBs are underneath coverage are stealing your eyes and getting a jump on the ball like a soccer goalie. I mean, he has virtually no chance to stop a penalty kick, right? But if he can figure out where that guy's going with that kick beforehand, he can get a jump and maybe tap it away. Well, if you just don't give him any indicators until the last second where it's too late, that's where your eyes become critical, and making sure that your eyes are always in the right place. The progression should tell you a lot about the eyes. Where am I looking first? Where am I looking second? And where am I looking third? And sometimes I'm looking first with my primary focus, but I'm looking second with my peripheral focus. No, I can look straight ahead and still see with my peripheral vision if somebody in the flat's open. I don't have to stare at that to make that read, if you know what I mean. So you have a primary focus, you have a secondary focus, which is sometimes peripheral, and then sometimes you got to move your feet and reestablish a primary focus. So these are all things that you got to do within the position to make you successful. But the slightest break in any of that, step that you take that you shouldn't take, makes the ball off time. An early peek into a throwing lane can bring defenders into the throw or minimize a run after catch. All these little tiny details can keep the quarterback from being all he can be. So when you're watching it, you discuss, is the ball coming out time as a receiver comes open? Or is his helmet straight down the field initially? Those types of things are things quarterbacks have to do to get good at the position.
Great stuff, Al Borges. Let's go to the next question for Al. And it comes from Llama Bryant. Llama says, Al, what's the best play design to allow Bryce to get the ball to the tight ends like Klein? And if you were the Michigan OC, would you call design QB runs for Bryce in the Northwestern, designed QB runs for Bryce to run in the Northwestern game?
Well, answer to number one is there's a variation of plays. A play we haven't seen in a while that gets the ball to tight end, I think is making a comeback because they have it because they ran it earlier in the year, is a trap pass. The trap pass where they pull a guard, get the defense to think it's a long trap or a counter play. The core jumps up and you hit that tight end crossing. We've seen that earlier in the season. We saw it a year ago. It's in their playbook. That's an excellent one. Another one is just with some token play passes, throwing verticals. That's really good for Klein because Klein can run. So, and there are some coverages that Northwestern runs that can be exploited with that type of a thing. What was the other question, Sam? I forgot.
Yeah, and then the other question was, would you call design QB runs for Bryce in a Northwestern game?
Yeah, I would. I mean, how many? I don't know, but I would. And as my philosophy was, other than Denard Robinson, because Denard we're going to run all the way through the year. But towards the end of the year, if you don't have if you have a quarterback going to run, but you don't want to run him all the time, kind of like Bryce. When you get towards the end of the year, that kind of goes out the door. You say, okay, we played 9 or 10 games. Let's go ahead and turn it loose here a little bit. We're playing an opponent where we may need it to win, so you are more willing to run him a little bit more. And I wouldn't be surprised if you saw some of that in this game. Plus, it'll help gain his confidence for other facets of the game. So,
all right, let's go back to it. Kwame, hey man, hey look, I'm a Lions fan through and through, and plus I know I'm gonna catch some grief from all the Jim McCarthy, JJ's dad. I got a message from him. If he does what he says he's gonna do Saturday at our pregame show event down in Wrigleyville, we're going to be at Moe's Cantina. Football alumni of Michigan is hosting us for our pregame show. I wish I could, I wish it was just totally open to the public. I think tickets are sold out for it. But he said, "Hey Sam, I'm coming," or the McCarthys are coming. Sans JJ probably, and I'm bringing you a JJ jersey. And I said, I can just imagine how this is gonna go, because I was like, man, I got so many messages from folks the day of that game. It's like, I know you're conflicted. I was like, yeah, I'm a Lions fan. Yeah, I love JJ, but I'm a Lions fan.
what are you gonna do, Sam? What are you gonna do?
I'm repping the Honolulu blue and silver. This home team all the way. And JJ, I definitely gonna have my JJ jersey on the wall. On the wall. Can't rock it. But can display it. Because that's my dude. But yeah,
Can't turn on the troops. I remember, Sam, when I was coaching at Michigan, I did a press conference. I think Mark Schneider asked me this, but don't quote me. I'm sure the Giants were playing the Tigers in the World Series. This was 2012, I believe. Well, I'm a Giants fan, man. I'm not a Giants fan. I'm a Giant nut, okay? Just like you're a Lions nut. If you think I wanted the Tigers to win that game, you're crazy. Now, he asked, who are you pulling for in the World Series? I says, I grew up watching Willie Mays, man. Juan Marichal, Willie McCovey. These are my guys. I follow them all the time. I check the score every time. You think I'm getting in a World Series? I like the Tigers, but I'm not pulling. He goes, oh, my goodness. You live here? I go, well, if you moved to San Francisco, would you now become a Giants fan? And then, it was quiet. So you got to stick with your boys, right, Sam? You got to stick with your boys. You can't turn on your boys just because of territorial loyalty when, you grew up with those guys. Those are the guys that are near and dear to your heart.
Yeah. Adam Shepard said, Sam, where'd you get that hat? So my little brother who passed away last year, this was his hat. And so this is one of the things of his that I took. So he was a big Michigan fan, and he was a huge Lions fan too. So, I had to take some of his, one of his Lions things. This was the thing that I took. So I wear his hat. A lot of Lions Sundays. So, Nala 846 says Vikings fans are crazy. They're killing JJ for his game against the Ravens. JJ needs a lot of work and experience, but they're already giving up on him. Their play calling was atrocious. 40 passes and 12 rushes. Hey, if they give up, not that I want the worst for JJ, but Al, I hope they give up on him. I hope they give up on him like, who gave up on him? Cleveland gave up on Baker Mayfield, and this is quarterbacks who really have that it factor to them that are guys. And I think JJ's ceiling is higher than Baker Mayfield's. So yeah, give up on him so the Lions can come get him. Let's go.
I think what happened a little bit too is he had played so well the week before against Detroit, and you can kind of fall into a little bit of a false sense of security and start wanting to throw the ball because he was throwing it well. And now all of a sudden you lose your balance, and you get after the game, you get a little buyer's remorse. That might have happened there.
Well, what are we talking about with Bryce? Except he hasn't turned the ball over as much, but you see the ups and downs with the young quarterback.
Right.
I mean, they were talking about that in that game with JJ. Yeah. It's like it happens with the young quarterback. That just so happens to be the case in the NFL right now. Next question comes from Ken227. Hey, Sam, how's Mike Hart doing? Is he coaching anywhere now? Not that I know of. You know what? Then I'll check. I'll check in this week. I'll have an answer for it because I honestly haven't checked in on what's going on with Mike in a while. So I will do that this week. Going to see a lot of his former teammates if I can't get in contact with him directly. And we'll let you know in the next show, on the next show. All right. Next one comes from Grand Info 5165. Al, you mentioned the plays that will work for Michigan. In the run game, it seems like Justice Haynes runs the best to the left, and Jordan Marshall's best runs are to the right side of the line. Thoughts?
I'd like to break that down, but a good back I never seen and make any difference. Run right, run left, run up the middle. They're usually pretty good at all of them. But what makes a difference on that is usually you got a better side of the line. One of the left side's better players than the right side, and I don't know if that's the case with Michigan, but sometimes that's the way it is. You're running behind the better players. So, but I don't know that there's a tell on that. I'd have to look at it more closely, and if you gave me some numbers, I'd find it very compelling if indeed that is true.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I remember in the old days, Sam, the Oakland Raiders ran behind Gene Upshaw and Art Shell all the time, left side of the line. Just any time it was close, the ball went behind the left side.
All right. Let's see here. Coach, Jarrett Wilson, former Michigan safety. I think he went to Bucknell in Akron, if I remember correctly. Was on DG and Jake show breaking down attacking Northwestern's quarters coverage. He seemed to be stressing putting the second level defender in conflict with RPO calls. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's basically what I'm saying is RPOs are a headache for the defense. And again, like I've said before, if they're not overused, because they can get you in trouble too, I'm just telling you. But if you pick and choose and do, call them when you want to and know that you're confident in the quarterback's ability to execute them, they're a pain in the butt because now the defense constantly gets a gross run read because it's a run. We've always, for years, we're on our offensive line on play action passes, it's selling the run, coming off and selling the run, and don't do anything to tip that it could be a pass. Well, hell, RPOs do just that because they are a hybrid, right? They're a little run, a little pass. And one of the best ways to go after the defense is attacking the second level outside or inside, as long as you can get that ball off before people get downfield too far, because there is a happy medium there. Okay, where now I can't use the RPO, I got to go to the play pass if I want to hold the ball longer. That happened earlier this year. They ran a duo play off of with an RPO, hit the slot wide open, and the play came back because there was a lineman downfield. He just wanted to hold it that extra beat to see that guy get open. But the officials are becoming keenly aware, and they give you a lot of latitude. But when it's ridiculous, they're not going to give you a lot of latitude. So you just got to be careful with that. But I think it is a fabulous way to exploit inside and outside second level defenders. Not so good about exploiting third level defenders because you just can't hold the ball long enough to exploit them.
All right, on to the next one. And
Oh, no, this is not a bum of the week, is it? Oh no, here we go. I don't like this.
Coach.
Oh no. Why do you put those up? You put those up just so you can go on a tangent. But I guess he's a what would you call me? He's paying to do it. Super chat, guys. But you got to do it.
Yeah, he came with the super chat. Al, Coach and Bubs of the week. How about can we add general managers in there and go into other sports? Because I'm itching so much for dropping dimes because Nico Harrison. You see Nico Harrison from the Mavericks he's getting let go. Made one of the worst trades in the history of sports, trading a 26-year-old guy in his prime away to the Lakers. You see how the Lakers are doing? Look like one of the best teams in the NBA. They are record-wise one of the best teams in the NBA without LeBron doing their thing. Luka is in shape. I said, just hire somebody to help the pudgy superstar not be pudgy. Nico. You don't go trading a 26-year-old superstar, right? Yeah, he said all he does is smoke hookah and drink beer. There are worse things than hookah and beer, Al. Worse things than hookah and beer. He traded him, and now he's fired. And his team is what, 3-8 or whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm just afraid if he traded everybody that did that, he'd be playing with the cheerleaders.
Meanwhile, fool, your team looks like doo-doo on a stick, and you out of job. How does that work out for you? That definitely makes you. But I know this is football. I know this is where we are. But man, I couldn't resist. Now, I won't say I'm tempted. I'm tempted to go at my man Jed, but I can't call my man Jed a bum. But how do you lose to Wisconsin, Al? How do you lose to Wisconsin?
That one shocked me. I got to say that one shocked me.
Like
Wisconsin had nothing to play for. I mean, Wisconsin. I watched them all year. They played with some heart, but they just didn't play with much execution on either side of the ball. And that they beat them surprises the hell out of me.
I mean, Luke Fickell is lucky. He's lucky he's best friends with the rich guy. They didn't even give him a vote of confidence. They gave him a vote of we can't afford nobody else. That's all. That's what you did. Like, come on, man.
Sam, you trust those vote of confidence, do you?
Like, come on, man. This is crazy that you lost to him. And I mean, you could say Michigan played both, but you wanted Washington to win. The better Washington looks, the better it looks for Michigan, right? Yeah. And they lost to Wisconsin.
I know.
Oh, Jed, bro, you're letting them down. And then so the questions are, hey, Jed, you're showing up for jobs. Your name is showing up for jobs elsewhere. Yeah, I don't know if that was them wanting to usher him out of town or what, but he said, no. I'm not looking around. My wife and kids aren't here because I've had like 11 jobs in 12 years or whatever. And my daughter is in high school. And I don't want to move her for her last couple of years of high school. I want her to be able to finish high school with her friends in Arizona. So that's why my wife and kids are still in Arizona and I'm up here coaching in Washington. I thought that was a pretty cool thing. Yeah. So outside of just liking, he's a former Michigan guy. And, the fact that I think he's a good coach.
He's a good coach.
I thought that was a pretty good reason for, that he gave to the media.
Yeah. Just know this, Sam, whenever you get a vote of confidence, that they're confident that if you don't win, they're going to fire your ass. That's a vote.
I hear you. All right. Let's go back to the questions for Al. You knew it was going to be some coaching bums that they wanted to know about. Next one for Al comes from Steve Horn. Says, Al, John Gruden recently did a video on his play call sheet. You know what? John Gruden actually has a very informative video series, an instructional video series, which is pretty cool. Said it was interesting. Could Al tell us how he organized his play sheet for game day? How about that?
I'm not 100% sure how, but I'm pretty close to it, I'm sure. Okay. Because
I think how you organize your play sheet. How you organize
I got you. Okay. Yeah. And I patterned the way I did my play sheet after the way Bill Walsh did his play sheet. And I wish I could call plays like Bill did, but I patterned the way. And the way I would do it, and you understand on that call sheet, there's got to be every situation that could come up in football so that you're not blindsided by anything. You got something for everything. So up in the left-hand corner, I would put the opening 15 to 17 plays. Those were there. And then underneath that, I would put alternative second and long calls after I was done with the openers. I would not use second and long calls generally until I went through the openers. And then below that, I believe I would put the goal line short yardage, probably 3 or 4 runs and 2 passes, for that. There'd be goal line, then there'd be short yardage, and then there'd be 2-minute. What were we going to do in 2 minutes? What was a menu of plays we were going to use in 2 minutes based on the scenario, whether we needed a touchdown or whether we needed a field goal. And then up in the other right-hand column, I would put all red zone plays. Okay. And I'm sorry. First thing would be third down plays, third and short, third and medium, third and long. There should be 3 categories, okay? And then underneath that would be red zone plays, red zone plus 20, red zone plus 10, and then in tight where you're in the 5-yard line, but you're not necessarily in goal line, maybe a third down call. And then after that, maybe 4-minute offense, what we're going to do. We had to run a clock out, what the plays we're going to run. If we had to pass, what passes were we going to use? And a lot of times that was based on hash mark, because we knew we were facing, indiscriminate defenses at that point. And then, again, I don't have it in front of me right now, but there's other facets too. And on the back, I flip it over and I had all the general offense, all the all the drop back passes, all the play action passes, all the nakeds, any pocket movements, all the run plays. And so there was basically just a general menu on the back of it. I got another thing too, is I would put on the back what I called second half considerations, which was plays that you were going to run that didn't make the cut of the opening 15, 17. They make the cut, but you like them, so you want to make sure they get called. So you had my second half considerations of plays, and they were also on the back too. And there's more than I'm giving you, but that's basically probably about 95% of what was going to get called in the game. And you knew all of them weren't going to get called. There was going to be overage any way you cut it, but you just wanted to make sure you had enough repertoire to address all those situations. So you don't, again, when it comes up, you weren't doing your Ralph Cramden, you got a call, bad or good, at least you knew you could get that call in and you practiced it and all that stuff. So that's kind of pretty much the way it was.
All right, on to the next one. This next question comes from Steve Horn. This was very interesting deal with the Lions. Gorgeous, what did you think of Dan Campbell taking over play calling? Good week to do that versus a horrible Washington defense. Al, and he had a follow-up. Al, can you tell us the difference between being a coordinator for a head coach that has an offensive background versus a defensive background? I know you work for both.
I did. Yeah. The defensive guys, I'll answer that one first, because the defensive guys are more dependent on you. You know what I mean? Because most of those guys have never coached offense or have very little, and you feel the pressure of having to come through, because they're not going to be, they don't know necessarily every intricacy of what you're doing. They know the plays basically, but they don't know all the little intricacies. Just as an offensive coach, you're probably not going to know all the intricacies of the defense. So they're a little more dependent on you if you're a defensive coach, and vice versa. If you're offensive head coach, you're a little more dependent on the defense. So you gotta put your faith in them. Now, as head coach, you always reserve the right to do that. Now, as a coordinator, I could stand it. I don't want that makes me look like I don't know what I'm doing, and that never fires me up much. But that's his right. I mean, that's why he's the head coach, and he can take that responsibility anytime he wants. I will say this: in pro football, the head coach being a play caller, I think, is much more viable than it is in college football, because in pro football, you have more time to sit in meetings with the offensive coaches and all that stuff. We're in college football with NIL and everything. I mean, you're getting distracted and diverted and everything. It's just very, very hard on the head coach to be the play caller. Now, I'm not going to say it can't be done, but it's tedious as hell. So, but at the end of the day, the head coach is completely entitled to do whatever he needs to do, whether it be call plays or give that up to get the team rolling. So,
yeah, it's just from the outside looking in, I've talked to you about this a great deal, Al, as I've gotten to learn more about just the coaching profession and talking to different coaches and their movements and jobs, and talking to head coaches about different guys and what they're looking for and that kind of thing, right? I remember I had a conversation with John. I could talk about this now, having a conversation with Jim when he was looking for a replacement for Wheat. And he was going over, hey, was he going to go for another running backs coach? And then I think I had mentioned Deland McCullough. And then he's like, yeah, I kind of like him, but, this, man, I kind of like the Fry guy over there, because they're doing a lot of really good things down there. I was like, I know Greg Fry. It's like, Greg Fry. And so his wheels were spinning. His wheels were spinning at that point. and you kind of get a feel for how like offensive guys are kind of putting pieces together. Offensive guys are always going to have their hand in that mix, and so it just always felt like when it's a Jim offense, his hands are going to be on that, like he's going to be in that mix. He's going to
Mm-hmm.
be he's going to be on the levers, some
Mm-hmm.
so to speak, right? And that was very much in his DNA for how things kind of work. So coaching for or coordinating for a coach for a head coach like that is going to have its challenges. You gotta figure that out. John Morton is coming on the heels of Ben Johnson, who I think he was given control, but I think Dan Campbell got used to it looking a certain way, and it hasn't looked that way even though they've been winning. And so now what he's done is he's gone in and he started to do it the Jim way. So I don't think that he's gone in and said, hey, John Morton, you aren't calling any plays. But to get back to the Jim part of it, where he's his mind is working about how he wants things to look and he wants it to go this way. I think Dan Campbell is, from a game plan perspective, is shaping the game plan. And I think he's calling certain parts of the game and then leaning on John Morton to call other parts of the game.
No, I could see that too. I just have never, I'm a sequencer, and I've never been much on two guys calling the game. I just think that's difficult sequencing plays. Okay, it's a passing situation. What are you going to run? Okay, it's first down. What are we going to do? Run or pass? I mean, I like one line of thought. Okay, and then letting people from the outside in between series suggest or whatever to set up your next sequence. Okay, the best play callers to me were those guys. The guys that one guy called the plays. Everybody made a contribution. They didn't make necessarily a play call contribution during a series. They did it more after the series because most good play callers tell the guy to shut up. I'm trying to figure out what the next call is. I don't need a million suggestions right now. So that's just how I did, and maybe that's too autocratic. I don't know, but I just believe that is the best way to handle it. And then when you talk about hiring guys, you got to talk about, okay, are we going to take a guy that we consider to be the greatest expert on offensive line play in America, but philosophically is nowhere close to what we want to do? Okay. Or are we going to take another guy that may not have that same reputation, but is a hell of a line coach, but fits better in the room? And everybody's going to say, take the great guy. Well, that's good as long as there's not such a difference in ideas that you're constantly bickering about how to do things and you're not really getting anything done and there's no cohesiveness. So there's got to be a fine line where you get an expert and he still works well with the rest of the group.
Yeah, I think John Morton, I think he's still a guy. It's going to be interesting to see how things work past this year. And in the short term, I think it's a workable dynamic, but, he wants it to look a certain way. And Johnny, he calls him Johnny. He just wasn't looking a certain kind of way. So he's got to step in and take over the steering the wheel. But, Jay, the guy sitting next to me, you're going to get a chance to have some input, and the backseat drivers can throw some in there too, because he said it's very much a collaborative thing. But as Steve said, it's easy to do against Washington. They suck. It gets real this week against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, no question. Every coach, every head coach has a paradigm, right? He's got a schematic representation of what he expects. And if it doesn't fit the paradigm, he's got to either get the coach who's running, whether it's the defense or the offense or the special teams, to do what he wants him to do to fit the paradigm. Or if at one point in time he says, I'm just not getting it, no matter how hard I try, take it over himself. So that now I know I'm getting the paradigm, win, lose, or draw, So those are all decisions you make. Those are all, hopefully that's done before the guy ever calls a play. But sometimes the reality of it doesn't work that way. So you got to do what you got to do and what you think is going to do is best for the team.
All right. That was some great questions, Steve. Came with the big time on that one. Jay Garcia says, hey, Al, my man, Jordan Marshall didn't need any dookie in that last game. My guy was on fire.
No, Jordan, he ain't no dookie guy now. That's not his deal. Okay, that's Blake Corum. Okay, that's he's not that kind of guy. He's a slasher and a run through it and punish people, you know. Now, but one thing about Jordan, he doesn't run on tracks either now. He can divert, you know what I mean? But he just isn't a dookie and break ankles and stuff. He'd rather break backs, you know. So but there's a lot of different ways to do it. A lot of different ways to do it, and they all are good as long as they're productive. And he certainly is that.
All right. Dennis Chang, 3384. Hey, Al, Sharon mentioned that Bryce is practicing shotgun and under center snaps. Is one better than the other for spread versus West Coast, especially if we lean more spread?
Well, if you're spreading, you can't go under center. I mean, that doesn't fit the scheme, because spread is all about spreading people out, pulling people out of the box, leaving somebody unblocked a good portion of the time, not all the time, but a good portion of the time, and reading them. And that can only really be done under center or I'm sorry, in shotgun or in pistol, that you can do it there. If you want to be more, take the pressure off the quarterback to run, okay, and maybe get a more gross reactions on play action passes and such, under center is the way to go. If you want to feature your halfback more, then under center is the way to go, or feature faking to your halfback to take the ball down. Under center is the way to go. And if you watch, virtually every NFL team is under center at one time or another, okay? And that's because they want to present some spread components and maybe have the quarterback threaten as a runner to a degree, but also be able to give the ball to Gibbs and to Montgomery and those guys, and you can hand it to them in shotgun, but you're not going to feature them near as much as you are if you put them under center and run that style. So, and I always thought the mixture of the two is really the best thing if you can get it all, if you can work out your economy of offense. So,
yeah, man, I my theory, because you said they were 3 for 3 on nakeds last week, 2016 and 8 yards or 6 yards, but 3 for 3. He has someone in his face every time. The biggest play was the one where he ducks under a guy and throws a pass.
Yeah, that was a magic play there. That was incredible.
I'm like, man, God dog it. It's like you can't tell. Obviously, this is clear. They see this. They are not biting. Their play action in general, is hit or miss as far as getting the jerk of the reaction from the defense. But certainly on nakeds, they are not respecting it at all. But they stay at it, and they are not going under center at all. And it's in the arsenal. It's in the playbook. We saw him work it early in the season. I'm surprised Sharon say, "Oh yeah, we're practicing that." I'm surprised he even acknowledged it, right?
Yeah.
Because my theory is they're not running it in games for a reason, and I don't think it's because he can't do it. We saw him do it in games already, and it looked fine, right? I think they're holding it back, Al. And that is not inside information. If Devin were here, he'd be like, "Oh, insider trading." No, I am totally speculating. I swear to you, I have not talked to Sharon about this at all, or anybody on offense. This is my pure guess on the matter, but I think they're holding it back for whoever or whenever, and they're going to pull it out, and I think it's going to work when they do.
Yeah, well, I think that's the good. What they do really to kind of supplement it is they pistol quite a bit, and that is another way to feature your tailback without necessarily going under center. So they still have the ability to run from home position, which most every tailback will tell you that's their favorite position, whether under center or pistol, and still do some of the same things.
Couple more for Gorgeous Al. Borges. All right. This one from Team Ukraine. I was wanting to ask Coach what he thought of his add to our offense and his gameplay. I don't know who we're talking about. So, sorry. Team Ukraine, if you can clarify what you're
that. No, yeah. We'll do our best to answer.
All right. From BCN 973, Coach, typically how many plays realistically do we have for third and long situations?
Well, I used to list about 8 to 9 and hopefully didn't use but about 4 or 5. I always knew if we lost the game if I used all the third and longs. I mean, that was usually the first tell. But you got to have, you got to have enough. And then again, sometimes you'll rerun a play, rerun a pass play. You don't have to run 8 or 9 necessarily different pass plays, but usually right in there. What you want to do is have the amount of plays on your list proportionate to how many times you get run in the game. Let me ask Sam a question here. Sam, how many times would you suppose 3rd and 3 comes up in a game?
3rd and 3.
This just gives you an idea on how many calls you should have for that, right? I mean,
a number of times in a game. I bet you it comes up 6 or 7.
Comes up once.
3rd and 3 comes up one time.
Little over 1, yeah, a little over 1. You should check your list. It'll come up a little over 1. So, but 3rd and 4 comes up. 3rd and 2 comes up. 3rd and 5 comes up. Once in a while in a game, you might get.
How about 3rd and 4 or less?
Yeah, and that's why I would group 3rd and 3 to 4 together. But some guys just do 3rd and 3 by itself. Okay, but they'll list maybe 2 plays, maybe 3 plays, because it could come up more. You could very seldom. The average was 1 point something, and I can't remember it anymore. But it's not as often as everybody thinks.
So guys do that. They do like, okay, this is 3rd and 2. I got all my 3rd and 2 plays, and then I got all my 3rd and 3 plays. They don't.
No, not necessarily. Some guys will just dot down in distance. They will put a 3rd and 3 play, saying that 3rd and 3, we still have the good possibility of a run, but if it gets past 3 and goes to 4, the possibility of the run obviously diminishes a little bit. So, so that's how you did it. I mean, the way I did it, I just did 3rd and 1 to 2, or I had an inches play where it was just inches, where maybe a wedge play, right, or something like that. And then on 3rd and, I would put 3rd and 3 to 4 would be the next category. 3rd and 5 to 7 would be the next category, and 3rd and 8 plus would be the next category. So, and then you could sometimes even have what I call the long yardage, where it's 3rd and 10 plus, which, well, you don't want to have a lot of those, but that's usually how you divide it for the most part. And I used to think, well, if I had to throw a hot route, would it get the first down? Because I can't put a play in, run a play where if I had to throw a hot route and only gain 7 yards and we need 10, that ain't going to work. So you just got to make sure that all the plays that you call fit not just the route structure, but the protection also.
All right, let's get a little bit of Big Ten chat in on the way out. Speaking of coaching bums, it's from Lama Bryant. Is Urban coming back to the Big Ten via Penn State? I think that'd be a really good hire for them, personally.
Sure. Yeah, he's got previously successful head coaching experience. Great experience.
Yeah, I think he can, and he knows how to put together a staff.
Yeah,
Urban knows how to put together a staff.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very. I mean, and he even knows how to hide coaching bums. Like that might have some redeeming qualities. That you can hide, like deviant behavior. If they might be able to recruit a little bit. Okay. So he knows how to do that. Like, you got to give Urban some credit for that. And he has been able to straddle the line with, as far as behavioral issues with squads, just teeter that line with eligibility, like, and field teams that can win championships. Penn State would win. Urban Meyer has won everywhere he's been. Like, so you got, as much as you might criticize the guy for, he's stepped into some plush situations. Like, he stepped in at Florida. Florida was loaded when he stepped in there. Ohio State was
capitalized. You got to give him credit. He took advantage of those situations. Right. Somebody step into those and blow it, and he did.
Right. Well, when he got to Florida and Florida was loaded, it's not like they were winning with those loaded players. And when he got to Ohio State, Luke Fickell was like, what is he, 6-6? Whatever they were at that time. So he took that and won a championship there. Yeah. So
Urban told me, or told Steve Adazio, told me the best job that he took where they were loaded was Utah. He said, boy, they had some guys when he got there. He was really impressed with the talent level. Now that's secondhand. I might make sure that's accurate, but I believe Steve Adazio told me that he really thought that he had told Steve, boy, they just really got some good players in Utah.
Yep. And so as you look at this Big Ten race, I mean, this Northwestern game is great. If they can get Northwestern now, and we know it's absolutely huge, it's absolutely crucial. it would say a lot for their improvement, because I don't see any way they go out there and take care of this game without showing some positive movement in the passing game. If they get Northwestern, you got to feel good about them taking care of Maryland. You don't take it for granted that it's a given, but Maryland hasn't been doing much of anything of late. And as long as you don't totally overlook them heading into Ohio State, that sets up a matchup in the game where all bets are off, right? But as you look at Ohio State, do they look as unbeatable as the Buckeyes seem to think they are?
We'll see. Hey, I just know this game too well. I've seen last year everybody was singing the blues. Michigan was not going to beat Ohio State last year. Just wasn't going to happen. It was going to be a rout. It's in Ohio State. Are you kidding me? It's and turns out, well, you saw what happened. And then my last year here, we lost the game in 13. But goodness gracious, what a football game it was, and everybody wrote us off. We're a play away from winning the game. So it's just a different game. You know what I mean? It's a different game, and the comparative scores are meaningless to me.
Yep. Yep, it is. It is the case that Ohio State, I don't care what happens in any other game, this one, and I don't care what Michigan does in any other game, it's different when that one kicks off. It just is. Now, if Michigan can handle this business, they are in. That doesn't necessarily lock them into the Big Ten championship game. I mean, you got an SC still lurking out there. So they are a squad that I think USC still has Oregon that they have to contend with. It'll be interesting to see how all the tiebreakers look in this deal. But Michigan, if they win out the regular season, I think they're in. I think they are absolutely in. So
I would definitely agree with that.
And so listen, folks, don't go giving up too quick. Didn't you think last year was hopeless? Heading into that Ohio State game, we haven't even seen how Michigan's going to play these next two games. All I can tell you is the formula, the mental formula, forget the X's and the O's. The mental formula is the same. Play a close game. Play a close game. The psychology hasn't changed. If you think Matt Patricia has changed the psychology of that, give me a break. Give me a break. You cannot believe Matt Patricia has changed the psychology of that program. It's all about Ryan Day. And you think them winning the I Can't Beat Michigan championship has changed the psychology of Ryan Day and of that program? No. Their hope in that game lies in their ability to blow the doors off Michigan before the fourth quarter. They need to be 2-3 scores up heading into the fourth. Anything less than that. What did I say? Listen, I'm giving you the post-game show already. See, because I plan on, if they let me, so I'm going to talk to my guys at the tunnel. So I need to get some, I'm trying to get a Clorox to be a sponsor. I've been saying that Ryan is not enough bleach to handle those draws if he gets to a close game with Michigan in the fourth quarter, Al. The streaks ain't coming out, Al. That's how ingrained it's going to be.
That's a horrible analogy. That's a horrible analogy.
I'm just telling you, the bleach ain't getting it out. He's going to get I told Vance, man, they better have the delousing powder ready for him to get on the bus, because he get on that bus butt naked. And the delousing powder, they're going to be throwing it on him as he get on, just to make sure that he ain't infecting the whole damn bus, because it's going to be bad. He can't handle it. He cannot handle a close game with Michigan. I promise you, it better be a blowout before the fourth quarter. They don't want that. He does not want it. His team, he's got some guys. He got some dudes who I believe have the heart to deal with it.
Yeah, don't they always?
He doesn't. He does not. He's the leader of the team. So you just got to get him to that point. Don't let him off the hook by it being the game being out of hand heading into the fourth quarter. If he's got a 2-3 score lead heading into the fourth quarter, he's gonna be popping champagne bottles on the sideline. The what is it? The beer, what's the beer color? The Beijing. The Beijing is not even gonna be running, right? It's gonna be looking crispy on his beard. But I tell you what, if it's close, you're gonna see he's gonna be looking like Rudy Giuliani on the sideline. It's gonna be running all down his neck. I'm giving you the forecast of how it's gonna go.
Yeah, well, how many of these games have been a blowout?
You have to go back. Michigan blew them out down there a couple of years ago. When Donovan had all those big runs, what was it, 40 something to?
Yeah, but that was close for quite a while though. It did end up a couple of touchdowns, I think, but the game was.
It was.
Yeah, it's pretty close for a while. I'm trying to think of
42-21.
42. Yeah, end up kind of uglier probably than it was.
45-23. 45-23. That was the score.
Okay, there you go.
45-23.
That's one. But again, it was a little closer now. But most of the time, it's going to be, fourth quarter. Somebody's a little tiny bit behind. Or tied or whatever, but and it's going to come down to some clutch plays and some crucial situations and some clutch calls.
Yeah, you can't get me to go into that game being like, I respect them. They are a loaded team. I think that in many ways, the that defense to be able to pick up from where they left off last year with a new coordinator, and that coordinator is Matt Patricia. That's impressive. Like they are, in many ways, I'm more impressed with this team than last year's group. And I think last year's group, from top to bottom, was more talented from top to bottom.
I thought so too. Yeah, I thought the two running backs. I don't know if they got two running backs as good as they had a year ago.
They don't. They don't.
But yeah, so. Ohio State's always going to have guys. I mean, always. It's just that's the deal. It's just the game. It's the game that's different. The game. You can have greatest players in the world, but for some reason, things happen in that game that you would not anticipate, good and bad.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think Indiana is in the Big Ten championship. But it's a matter of who do they play. Who will they play on the other side? Time will tell. Time will tell, folks. That's going to do it for us. Al, you got much for it. I know you don't like to give scores. So can you at least give me will Michigan win this game this weekend against Northwestern?
Oh yeah, Michigan will win, but it ain't gonna be easy. They'll win probably by 3 points, maybe 10 points. I just know Northwestern. I mean, I played them 3 times, and we had to beat them in overtime twice. You know what I mean? So I know how they play against Michigan, but they got a little bit of a Michigan problem too. Sometimes is they think they got you or they can beat you, and for some reason it slips away from them. So I'm going to pick Michigan to win this game, and I think they'll win it by, like I say, it'll be close. It'll be a touchdown, 3 points.
All right. That is going to do it, folks, for another edition of the Michigan Football Breakdown. I hope you enjoyed it. We always have a great time. Appreciate your support. We're going to be getting into it with Vance, looking at the other side of Northwestern. Kwame, I think this is a pipe dream, bro. I'd be shocked. If Michigan puts up 42 points on the road against Northwestern, rolling the rest.
That's too ambitious for me, Sam.
But they are going to. I will predict a win. Like coming off of that game, they're going to win out. I'm gonna say they're gonna win out the rest of the way. Like as it stands, I'm picking it week to week. But yeah, they do that against Northwestern. That will signal some real improvement in the passing game. So, we'll see. I think it'll probably be more modest improvement if I'm being, tempering my expectations a bit. So we'll see how it goes. Al Borges has been real as always.
Always
appreciate it. Folks, be sure to join us over on the defensive breakdown. Al, been real, my friend.
Love it, Sam. It just gets better and better. I know it is. It just gets better and better. I'm so fired up about it. I know it start. So I won't.
We'll see you on the next edition of the Michigan Football Breakdown, focused on the offense with Al Borges.
Go Blue.